Hi everyone, welcome back to your Great Expectations project. Now I just wanted to make a quick video to run through a couple of things because I can't be with you for your meeting. So the first thing is I just want to recap a few of the values of qualitative research, because all the work that you do in your degree is quantitative research and that's quite different. So I want to make sure we're really clear about what qualitative work is. So I think the best way to think about it is that when you're working as a scientist or an engineer, researching in the lab or in the environment, you're trying to find out exact things. You're trying to find truths about the world and you're measuring things and getting exact and precise readings. Qualitative research is completely different. So if you remember, we're thinking about human experience, and that's much more about trying to find clues rather than truths. So you need to think of yourselves as detectives. So you've collected this amazing amount of data with your first set of questionnaires, which has gone really well. I'm so proud of all the work that we've put in to get this far. But now what I need you to do is to become detectives. So you're not looking for what's true or what the data says about what the students have experienced. What you're looking for is clues that can help us to think about what that might be. And we need to accept that we're not going to find one single thing that's true and that says everything about the student experience, and we might find 3 or 4 things that seem to contradict each other, but all of those 3 or 4 things will be really important. So now we're going to think about analysing the data from the questionnaires that you have collected. So there are 2 types of clue that I want you to look for in the data. The first clue is kind of the easiest one. This is what seems to be the most common. So are there things that students have said again and again? So if you're looking at all of the question 1s or all of the question 5s, are there things that come up again and again and again? Make a note of that. So that's a frequency clue, a clue that's come up lots of times. Then later on, we can have a get together and think about what that clue might mean. The second type of clue is things that maybe only one student said. Now that's where it really is different to quantitative research. Even if one student said something, it's just as important as if there's something that 50 students said. And the things that we're looking for that might only be said once or twice are things that are really curious, things that are interesting, things that are really different. So you'll spot those things because no one else said it, or because you're like, I don't quite get that, I need to have a closer look. So we've got frequency clues, and then we've got curious clues. Now they're not the technical terms, but they're really good terms to help you remember the difference. So frequency and curious. So if you can work at looking at the questionnaires and finding those 2 types of clues, that's going to be a fantastic start. Now we need those clues to design what we ask in our second set of questionnaires. And I want to have a quick chat about those second questionnaires. Now, when we were doing the first questionnaires and you were coming up with all the questions, you guys really inspired me because you said something that we couldn't do in that first set. You were talking about having collaborative questions where students would answer them together in groups, and also questions that would be really interactive. And we couldn't really do that when we had everyone doing individual questionnaires. So I've been thinking about this ever since you said it, and I've come up with an idea that I think will work really well, and I think it for 3 reasons. So what I think we should do is do 1 massive questionnaire per class with 5 question stations. So you'll have like a big sheet of paper on the wall with a question and a collaborative activity that needs to be done to answer that question. So it might be draw a tableau to answer the question, or it might be cut out shapes from this big pile of paper and stick them on to answer the question. So something really, really interactive. So maybe 5 different types of question, and everyone in the whole class can rotate around those 5 question stations and write and add and contribute to the same thing. So you'll have like a massive piece of paper with loads of different clues all over it from all the students. Now I said there's 3 reasons why I thought that was important. One is because this really picks up on your innovation. So we've done the visual questionnaires, which is already a really innovative way of designing a questionnaire, but can we take that a step further and do collaborative questionnaires? So because this has come from you, I feel like it's a really good thing that we should follow up. It's a really good way that you're adding into the staff-student partnership. The second thing is that I've spoken to all the lecturers, and we need the lecturers to agree with what we're doing if we're going to go into the classrooms and work with their students. So the lecturers think that doing something collaborative, given that it's going to be the last session of term when the students are really tired, will be more effective than if you give out individual questionnaires. They think there's a risk that lots of the students won't want to fill them in, and I kind of agree with them. So I think it helps to solve that problem. And thirdly, I think it really respects the student journey within a module. So if you think about when the students came to their first class, they all came as individuals, they had their individual expectations, and that's what we've sampled with those individual questionnaires. But now, the students have been working together for 20 weeks in teams. I don't know if we ask Ray, so he's been in one of our third year classes where the students really work closely together in teams. I think asking them something that they can collaborate on will actually generate more of their real experience than if you ask them individually. And in fact, some of last year's students said the single most important thing about their experience was not what they learned or how they learnt it or how we worked together in class, but it was how they worked with each other as a group, whether that was in small teams or as a whole class. And so I think having this opportunity to respond as a class might be really important. But that's just my idea, and you might have your own ideas about it. So use the session to discuss it, to think together, and then we'll see where we go from there. So have a great session.